Hello and welcome to the show. I'm here today on automation with a challenge. I saw this one suggested in my last build video. It kind of sounded like a lot of fun, so I'm going to see what I can do. We're going to be building a giant killer car. Now there are two ways to go about this. We can either A, go down the Nissan route with the likes of the GTR. High-tech, fairly small engine but very cleverly built. Or we can go down the American route, the Dodge, the Corvette sort of route. Very, very, very unnecessarily large engine, fairly cheap, fairly... what's the polite way of putting it? Basic approach, just the brute force approach. Now, you guys probably have a fairly good idea of what approach I am going to have in this one. I have downloaded a mod for a sort of different supercar-style body. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of the Celine Raptor that may never have come to fruition, but still, it is, yeah, hopefully going to be an okay-looking car. Hopefully going to be an okay-performing car. Now, we could go for... just thinking weight here. We could go for some fiberglass. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually okay going down that route. We can go for fiberglass. I forgot how loud automation was. Computer volume turned up for other stuff. We'll go for a fiberglass monocoque. Right, I mean those start getting. I say they start. Yeah, they do start getting expensive and sort of time consuming and so on. Chassis material. We're probably go. I mean, again, we want it to be light. It is going to be a road car, so I mean safety is a little bit of a concern. You know, glued aluminium. So it's going to be really, really. Oh, I like the orange. I approve of that. That's cool. Okay. Don't think I ever built a car quite in this manner, so this should be fun. Something a little bit different. We can have a rear-engined car. It's going to be a mid-engine vehicle. That's just the style of the body. We can have mid-longitudinal, mid-transverse, or we can have rear longitudinal. That's quite cool. It's nice to see actually another body that has rear engine. There's so few of them around the place. I think they will probably go for mid-engine. Now it is going to be rivaling the supercars. I don't think we want push rod. I think that's starting to that's going to get too expensive. We want it to be a nice affordable alternative. It can only get I would normally go for multi-link at the back, but yeah, we can only get push rod or double wishbone, so we will go double wishbone suspension all around. We will then move on to the engine. As I said, we're going for a little bit of a brute force approach. So I'm thinking a big V10 is the way to go here. Now we do have to be careful, of course, because I don't know how bigger a V10 we can get before it starts filling up. Well, be careful about filling up the engine bay of the vehicle. I'm thinking we're not quite going to go for the Viper's 8-litre plus V10. We're going to go for a 7.5-litre V10. Now, we're not going to go mad with the quality sliders. Again, we're trying to keep this vaguely affordable. So we are going to go for a... this actually only just changes the emissions. It doesn't change the RPM or friction. So maybe we'll try and save a little bit of money. Go for 4 instead of the usual just dump on 5. This is it's going to be a stupidly badly built engine, I suspect. Like, when I start going for 7.5 litres, you can get much out of these, and I'm probably not. Basically, I'm probably not going to get much out of this, but we will try. I'm going to go for full-on forged. We will see if we need titanium or not. Again, we're trying to keep... I mean, look at the material cost of the titanium over the lightweight forged. I'm hoping we don't need to go for the titanium. I think we should be good to go for this stuff. It's not likely to be RPMing to the moon. We're not likely to be doing 12,000. We're not likely to be asking the engine to do that. So we will stick with middle of the road stuff for now. We want it naturally aspirated. I'm not going for turbochargers in this. Now, it does make sense, let's face it, to go direct injection here. There's not really... It's only slightly cheaper and slightly easier doing these early ones. I think we might as well just go for it. It is a road car after all. We won't go for the full-on race car induction, if you like. We will run the car on... I mean, we're trying to make it... we're trying to make it a giant killer without being insanely over the top. So that'll do. We will want... I mean, we're hopefully going to be getting around the... We'll go tubular for now. We're hopefully going to be getting around the 700-800 horsepower mark. You know, we're looking for a car that is going to be capable of... We're looking at 0 to 60 at around the 3-second mark, 200 plus miles an hour. We are hopefully going to be a decent handling car. Now, we are going to want... I don't know if that's going to be quiet. I actually know what the quietness standing is for, like, required for a road car. I also do want efficiency value to be decent. We want to be able to do a decent miles a gallon, because, you know, we do want it to be vaguely usable in everyday circumstances. Right, how much can the RPM... Okay, the valve float gives up at around 7,500 RPM, but that's okay. I mean, I'm not too fussed about... I'm not trying to build this with crazy rev, and we can whack up the compression here. We are fine to do that. Or was it 95 we could actually go to over there? Although we will probably need to start... Oh, there we go. That's the sort of figures we want to see. 650 horsepower in our car. 670 horsepower now in our vehicle. And remember, we're still naturally aspirated in this. It is a naturally aspirated car. What are we at fuel efficiency? About 18%. Hopefully it's going to be fairly light. That's going to be our kind of saving grace in all of this. It should be fairly light. What are we going to do? What can we see exhaust-wise? Actually, we were pretty good with the exhaust set where it was. I don't know. Okay, long tubular does give us a fair bit more power. What is the sort of cost? It's not actually too bad. Race exhaust is pretty good. But, actually, it starts filling up the engine bay. That does start getting expensive. Now, we'll stick with the long tubular. So, yeah, 726 horsepower. 500 torque. It's actually quite a... I say it's quite a... I said lacking torque. That's not a correct term. I was expecting maybe a little bit more torque out of the engine. We can actually still... Oh, we can't ramp that up too much. What was the... Oh, it was 95, wasn't it? Yeah. 737. We can go a little further with this, then. So, okay, so that is literally the peak, but you don't want to kind of have your rev stop right at the peak. You want to, so like when you change gear from there, if you change gear from there, you drop further down, or if you change gear from there, you won't drop quite as far back down the power band, if that makes sense. So, like if you change gear like right there, yeah, I think anyway, that's a little bit better. I'd rather have it just dip a little bit and then you can come back down. Oh, I've got a kitten fast asleep on me. I've got another cat. I've got a kitten helping build. Eve is fast asleep. Apparently not interested in the V10. Oh, Eve's woken up now. I've said something. Are you now interested in the V10? Are you liking the very powerful V10, yeah? You're now going to cause chaos, aren't you? Yes, you are. So, yeah, naturally aspirated wise, I'm not too displeased with with all of that. Where are you going, kitten? No, don't go on the desk. Don't press buttons. Don't press buttons. Please don't press buttons. Come on, kitten. Back this way. We will have a kitten-designed engine. Now, that's a scary prospect. I might have a way of doing it, though, at some point. That's for a later date. So, here is our engine. What does it sound like? As far as giant slaying cars go, yeah, makes a pretty good noise. It does make a pretty damn good noise. So here is the vehicle body. Yeah, it's very... when I was looking at the picture, I only actually saw from the front of it. It is very Celine Raptor-esque, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. I mean, the Raptor never came to fruition. It was a concept car. It's a cool concept car, an interesting vehicle. Had incredible supercharger noise, wasn't it? Current engine does not fit. Oh, why did you not tell me that earlier? Damn you, game. Why were you not telling me that earlier? I guess maybe because I already just put the body on. What size? Oh, okay, so it is very, very close to fitting with a 7.5. Oh, we can't quite get 7.5 litres in it. Well, I mean, it would be rounded up to 7.5 litres. So, there we go. What is that power-wise? 723. With the adjustments. Well, I guess we're going to ramp up the cam profile again. It's going to be very aggressive cam profile here. Back up to 771 horsepower. Can actually ramp the compression up slightly. 773, and this is without going mad on the fuel mixture. Like I could easily get it well over 800 horsepower going mega aggressive with all of that. I'm just going to test something here. Yeah, I mean, we're up to 784 without really affecting... I mean, what we have done, essentially, is now just put its peak power is maybe a little bit late, but it's got big numbers, essentially, is what we wanted at the end of the day. Efficiency is still fairly good. Engine fits in the car. So we can have all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Again, we can go for the technically clever way, or we can go for the brute force way. we're going brute force way. Actually, I've gone past. That's actually skipped me further down the line than we were wanting to. Let's just enable a little bit of morphs on this, because we're going to have some pretty mean wheel arches. I don't know if I can do too much to the vehicle. We can change the back. Is that like length of the back? Oh, wow, you can go for a really long... No, we'll stick that back there. I guess actually we could have drawn that out and you might have got more space to fit the engine in, because the engine's going to be... Oh, there it is. There's the big bugger. Yeah, I guess you could probably have done that, but never mind. It is what it is. Cats have gone and caused chaos. Eve jumped off me and chased Amara out of the office. It's never a dull day. Shall we get back to what we were supposed to be doing, building the car? We'll get to... So, I mean, this is kind of potentially prime pop-up headlight territory. If I don't like what I can do here with these, this might be a prime pop-up headlight territory. Maybe. I'm trying to get these to sit how I want them to along this sort of front edge. It's actually kind of, I say it's kind of difficult for me when I'm building cars. Like, you look at it from the front, it looks fine, and then you look at it from the side, it looks very weird. What would the pop-up headlights look like on this car? Oh, you'd have to have them in the centre, wouldn't you? You could go for the... I say you could, it wouldn't really work. Ah, it's a shame they don't quite sit where you want them to. Down on the... Yeah, they kind of just sit pointing... Oh, they sit pointing down at a weird angle. It's not quite what... Oh! So you could go for the... Like the... Is it Cizeta, the V16 car? Like their strange little headlight configuration, where you have like one and then you have another set higher up. But it won't work on this car, I don't think. Because I can't... I would put the front... You have to put the front headlights a lot lower. So if you had them down there, and it doesn't quite work because you can't quite place them. Do we then try? Maybe these will work how I want them to. Possibly, but it is only a... Oh, you're not going to let us... Oh, you don't want to sit there at all. There we go. Just, no, it's having trouble putting them quite where I want the lights to go. Bugger. Okay, what are our other options here in terms of headlights? My normal ones are not working. Those will look very, very strange. I guess you might be able to get them at the right sort of angle. Okay. Okay, that might work. We're going to have some form... I think we've got to... My thinking with this, just looking at the front of the car, is we're going to want some big... Now, are they going to fit where I want them to? So I think it has sort of big vents along the side. Even then, it might not quite fit in the angle that I want them to fit at. That's just a slight bit long. So if I'm big side vents and then have maybe a smaller vent or something across a grill across the middle. We're going to go for... no, I mean we will move around the positioning of them so they don't quite overlap in that way, because I want that at the front basically. Do we go for... do I like having the overlap down there on that? Let's put that up higher slightly. It's just trying to sneakily hide the extra little edge of that vent. So have it like that, and then we can have the... Oh, it's not quite going to sit in there, is it? Okay, no, that's alright. And then we can have a lip, is what I'm thinking. We can have a lip along the bottom. Maybe. There-ish. Lip along there. Make that as wide as we can. Is that going to curve around the corner how I want it to? Kind of. It does kind of just end. I'm very difficult getting those to do what I want them to. So that'll do. We will get a sport plate, of course, at the front. And there's actually a nice space for the plates to go on there. Yeah, I'm actually not disliking those headlights. I think that was a good call. Now, can we get... it'll be a scoop, won't it? I was going to get like a... Go for a decent sort of bonnet bulge on the car. You know, make it look aggressive. Even though there's technically not an engine under there, kind of make it look aggressive. And again, it's just giving it a little bit more detail, almost, on it. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with taillights. I've spent a lot of time designing the look of this car, perhaps more than I have on some previous vehicles, although I am happy with the front. It's a little bit different, it's a little bit quirky, but I'm happy with the front enough. What are going to fit on the back of this? That is the question. Unless you go for... It's actually a really difficult back of the car to style, I think, anyway. We could go for the old kind of just large brake lights, large sort of centre brake lights, and of course we are a rear. Don't like those. Where can we? Could we go for? I guess we could go for some circular brake lights, and then maybe we go as an indicator. We go for like a little circular indicator light. Oh no, don't want that. I don't actually know what the difference is between these little circular indicator lights. If that won't quite sit where I want it to, will it? No. Okay, maybe we'll pretend there are indicators somewhere. Thankfully, at the end of the day, I don't actually have to worry about making the cars like, you know, road legal or anything. So there we go. We'll have a centre mounted bit up there. We will get a mighty wing. This has got to have a mighty wing. It would not. I mean, actually, the body suits a mighty wing pretty well. Move you a little bit forward. Do we have? Say it suits a mighty wing. It does, but it's got the little bit of Porsche syndrome of where the bloody hell do you mount it? Okay, maybe I'm not sure about that one. Definitely not sure about this one. Although that does actually. Well, I don't like the wing as much, like the actual start of the top bit. The way it's mounted does work on the back of this car, so that's fine. Now we've got to get some little vents around the place for the back of the vehicle. Do we not? Maybe we go for grills. I want something that shape. Basically, we want something a straightforward shape, so that can sit along at the back there. We will get a exhaust. Do we go for? I mean, it only seems right, really. If we go, oh, I don't know where that went. Only seems right, really, to go for quad exit exhausts, perhaps, on this. Again, like I like building quad exit exhaust cars. They're kind of fun. We can build quad exit exhausts, and then we can have. Oh, they're not. No, I think they might be evenly put. We can have another little grill down the bottom to house the exhausts. It's going to be slightly higher. Make sure it's sat in the middle. That can go there, and we can have little tiny vents either corner of the car, like back here maybe. And do I like those? Maybe not actually. Maybe not quite so much. What we will try is getting some. I mean, these would be like brake cooling vents we can have along here, just to make them look. Just to make again, it's sort of just kind of. Not that high, just to kind of break up the side of the car a little bit more, something a tad more interesting along it. There we go. Okay, I actually quite like it. At the back, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with. Back's a little difficult to work with, I think. But yeah, overall, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So, rear-wheel drive, we wanted to keep it. We'll go with a sequential gear. No, we'll go with the manual. We'll go with the proper manual gearbox. 6-speed, reckons theoretically top speed to 218 miles an hour, so it is there or thereabouts with, you know, what we're aiming for here. We can get. We're gonna have a geared LSD. We're gonna need that to vaguely, possibly be competitive. Medium compound tires. I mean. It's surprising they don't have sort of like a grip. Or they have a grip number. It doesn't have like a sportiness number. Again, we're going to try and keep it a little bit cheap. So we're going to want some big rear tyres. Decent sized front tyres, but try and keep the oversteer under control. We're going to get some big rear tyres. We're going to have alloy wheels. We won't go for the magnesium. Oh, I keep forgetting that I've got to do the wheels changed in here. Shall we go with just the default standard Fail Race Industries wheels? That works for me. Okay, brakes. Vented 4-piston. We're going to want big brakes at the front because there's going to be a lot of braking needed for this car. Don't need quite as big brakes at the rear. Engine bay is quite full. Is the only thing it's currently shouting at me. We'll go for a little bit more aggressive brake pads just to try and help it. Sure, we'll go with just a teeny tiny bit semi-clad under tray for helping with some, I guess, aero bits. 2-seater. Now, what do we go for? Do we go for? I guess we've got to go sport. Really, it is a little bit expensive, but it's a budget supercar. but you know that's it's still going to cost some money, isn't it? Supercar, whatever way you go, it's still going to cost some money at the end of the day. We're not going for luxury as such. I guess we're probably going to have to do that because that would be expected of a car like this. You'd expect like a supercar, you'd have to have some of them. I think actually isn't it mandated now? Cars have to have have to have ABS at least. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna have active suspension, so we'll go standard. Yeah, I could be wrong, but yeah. Shall we go? Oh, well, let's just play with a little sneaky, cheeky, clever sway bars. Why not? So it is a muscle car, essentially. I wonder why it's not counted as a supercar out of curiosity. It is, yeah, being counted as a muscle car, which I guess at the end of the day, I mean, I always call the likes of the Corvette and the Viper a super muscle car, because that's kind of what they are, really. It does tend to oversteer, which I am absolutely fine with. Oversteer is okay in terms of what we're building here. I know my personal opinion, I prefer planted cars. However, with what we're building here, you know, it would be a surprise if it was. Well, I mean, the drivability is a little low on this car. I mean, have you seen the vehicle? Before I start fiddling around too much with it, I just am curious. Markets. What is holding it back in terms of competitive and affordability? I guess it might not be like luxurious enough for this category. It's annoying I can't have a look. It's got the speed and the prestige. I think maybe the drivability might actually be hampering it a little bit. Muscle categories, the premium muscle cars, which is, you know, very much the aim. When you're trying to compete with a Viper, that's probably the aim. What you're going for here. We are making the car a slight bit more drivable, which is good. Oh, now it's managed to get it straight. Oh, it like trends slightly to oversteer and then all the way to understeer all of a sudden. I mean, this is improving its marketability greatly. This is definitely improving improving its standing in the muscle car category. We're making the sportiness up, the drivability up, everything is good with that. Now we're starting to just hamper it a touch. What are they? I should have a look at this. Front dampers are hard, front tyres are wide, rear tyres are wide, brakes are very large, but we kind of need that. I don't really trust the game saying, no, see, as soon as I start doing that, it then starts telling me off for, like, it says these are very stiff, but if I start putting them down, it's hampering everything. I mean, it's not a very comfortable car. This is not, you know, that's the part of the point. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a particularly comfortable vehicle at the end of the... Well, I say it's not supposed to be a particularly comfortable vehicle. I think I've actually stuffed up my suspension now. It was looking way better a second ago, and I've now completely ruined it by fiddling, as per usual. Anyway, I think that's better. Right. It's been a little bit more of a faffing around build on this car. Well, we've got wheel spin. Wheel spin's not too bad. Wheel spin is not too bad. It reckons top speed is around 215 miles an hour. So it is right in the window of what we want. Miles a gallon's actually pretty good. That's going to be way better than certainly the early Vipers. Certainly the early Vipers. So it won't be in through... no, it will go in through in here, sorry. It's a muscle, again, muscle premium hypercar. It's kind of where we're going for. Arcana, it can't go in because there's no fuel for it. Hetvesia? I'm not sure how it's pronounced still. This is kind of utility premium, I'm not sure about that. Again, muscle premium, very, very much up there. And Dal, I can't pronounce this thing. I can't pronounce any of them. Basically, yeah, we sit at muscle premium comfortably everywhere. It is a very, very solid option as a muscle premium car. If we just go, I just want to have a look at the stats. 216 miles an hour, it reckons. 3.7 to 60. It might like it a little bit quicker. I mean, ultimately, it's not going to have the all-wheel drive power. It's not going to have that all-wheel drive power, but still pretty bloody fast, isn't it, at the end of the day? We're targeting the Viper and the Corvette kind of Viper Corvette area to scare your Lamborghinis and Porsches, etc., Ferraris and so on, and that's certainly numbers to do it. What is the overall cost before we go? So it reckons material material cost 18,000. So that's selling it at 37 grand. I mean, so at 37 grand, we've got a car that could terrify. I mean, what's 37 grand get you these days? A Porsche Boxster, Cayman sort of area, and we've got a 200 mile an hour V10 super muscle car. Perfect. Now we've got to go see how it drives. So, here we have got the vehicle in Beam. I've decided to call it the FRM Harrier. Well, that's a fairly fitting name for a vehicle such as this. We're at the automation test track. We're actually going to go around the circuit, though. Instead, I figured we'd go for a little drive up one of the mountain roads. Not really explored them around that goes towards the top part of the map. Acceleration, pretty good in this. Acceleration is pretty good right there. Quite a lot of understeer, swiftly followed by quite a lot of oversteer. Oh, I do realise I didn't put the front wheels into the out. Yeah, oh, I've done stuffed up because I was busy looking at the front wheels. The front wheels I should have done the offset on. Ooh, it now looks a little bit unhappy. The front wheels I should have... you know what, let's go this way. I'm pointing this way. I pressed the wrong button on the Z-pad to get us reset, so never mind. Oh, a little bit of frame rate lag is not what you want when driving this sort of a car. I mean, I think it definitely fits the bill of the super muscle cars. I think it does definitely fit that... that sort of market. It is very quick, a bit difficult to drive. It's more of the classic, rather than the, you know, the new... actually sensible Corvettes and Vipers. This is more of the classic Viper route. Where does this go? Dead end, I think? Or is there a... No, there is a road over this way. That's cool. This is, yeah, much more of the classic... Oh, this is not where I want to be testing my super muscle car. I've gone on the rally stage, haven't I? Oh, bugger. How good is it off-road? Let's find out. This is not quite the way I intended on testing it. It is a little bit understeery. I think I would probably tweak around with the suspension. I mean, I might just give it some bigger front tyres, to be fair. That'd probably solve that. But solve that problem and solve the offset problem fairly straightforwardly. This is not at all where I wanted to test the car. Okay, let's go and take you back here. Did not know that was an off-road trail over there. So we're learning new stuff about this map as we go. Let's not bin the car this time around. I mean, it's got, even with the traction control off, I mean, it's pretty damn fast accelerating. It's 0 to 100 is not too shabby. It does ever so often let go, which is a touch concerning. It is a touch concerning, but I mean, considering the, you know, expected cost of this car, it'll do almost 20 miles a gallon, which is not bad for a supercar. Hell, I had a rotary and I have a Legnum that's very, very thirsty on petrol as well. So I mean, this is not that dissimilar to what I'm used to with normal road cars, and this thing is 800 horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower. This sort of terrain is not going to be fun times for the car. That much I can tell you. This sort of place is going to... This is where, of course, it will show that this is not a sophisticated car. It really is. This is the British version of a Viper. The early Vipers, kind of. My closest version. I mean, I guess the British version of a Viper is a high-powered TVR, let's face it. We've made a TVR alternative as well here. For the price, I mean, the performance with this is, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It is not easy to drive on these fiddly little roads. It's got too much understeer, swiftly followed by a lot of oversteer. But it is in keeping with the objective. You know, we got the top end speed, we got the 216 miles an hour that I was looking for. The power figures are good. The acceleration is pretty solid. I mean, if we made it all-wheel drive, it would easily be under 3 seconds. I mean, I would say like 3.7 seconds is pretty solid. You know, that's a silly fast 0 to 60 time at the end of the day. But nowadays, cars are getting very, very silly quick with their 0 to 60 times. I like it though. I do like this. The understeer, I think maybe I'll have a play around with the suspension at some point because it's not quite there. With the settings, it's not quite there in terms of control. We've binned it in a wall. We're actually starting to get towards the snow. This is quite a cool little area we've found. So there we go. My attempt at a Giant Slayer. It's certainly affordable. It is certainly an affordable vehicle here. With the the game reckons you'd be selling it at less than 40,000 credits, dollars, which for... Oh, I've pressed the wrong button again. Why am I doping out about that? Can I... There we go, we can do that. That will work. Vehicle recovery one. Yeah, 40,000, let's say, dollars for a car with this level of performance. That is one hell of a Giant Slayer. I'm not sold on the back, but from the front, I actually really like the look of the car as well. This is a cool mod for the vehicle body. You can find it on the Steam Workshop. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.